Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. If you guys somehow don't know what this book is about, it follows a girl named Madeline who has been living inside of her own home for her almost entire life. She's allergic to pretty much everything, so if she goes outside, she will get sick and potentially die. Her whole world revolves around her caretaker slash nurse Carla, and her mother, who is a doctor, so her mother is able to provide her all of the medical care that she needs. And then everything changes when some new people move in next door, and there's a boy that moves in, and then their process of forming a relationship begins from there. This is a YA contemporary novel, and you guys know that I'm not a huge YA contemporary reader, so I was interested to see how I would feel about it, and I gotta say, I didn't hate it. As usual with my book reviews, I'm gonna go through my pros, go through my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first pro for this book is going to be Madeline and her caretaker Carla's relationship. I just really enjoyed their interactions, and I thought that Carla was a really good adult figure in her life. In their circumstance, it seemed really realistic that Madeline and Carla would grow really close together because they spend every day together for hours and hours and hours. And Madeline really looks to Carla for really everything in her life. She does to her mother as well, but I just felt like the bond between Madeline and Carla was really a lot stronger, and I loved seeing that relationship throughout this novel. Ollie's the boy that moved in next door. So the beginning of Ollie and Madeline's relationship was really cute. I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of like middle school, where you're really shy, so you want to talk to someone but you don't want to talk to them in real life, so you end up like texting them or getting your friend to talk to them for you. So like it was very middle school to me, and I know they're supposed to be in high school, but she doesn't have that much interaction with people her own age besides internet friends. I don't know, I just thought it was really cute. Moving on. I think one of my biggest pros for this book was the formatting of the book. I thought that was really interesting. In here, there will be little emails. There's something called Madeline's Dictionary, where there's also illustrations in the book that were illustrated by Nicola Yoon's husband. And there's chat group messages, so I really enjoyed those. I think that the formatting really worked well with this novel, and it really gave that feeling of her being stuck in this world and having to come up with different ways to entertain herself. For instance, she will track what people do during the day that are in her neighborhood that she can see because she's got nothing else to do besides homework and reading. And each of those things is really well placed within the novel, and it makes sense for where she puts things. So when she does the dictionary entries or the log books or the illustrations, it always is like the perfect place to have those. Another thing I really liked was Madeline's love for architecture. I have a lot of friends that did architecture in university, and I know how hard that stuff is and how much time that takes, so it makes sense because she has so much time that she would be able to study architecture, and the models that those people make are crazy and amazing. And I also love that they included the fact that when architecture people build those models, they always put something a little random in every single one of their projects, and she does that, and I thought that that was really funny, and you can actually see some illustrations of that. And so I really loved the whole architecture aspect. I thought that it was really interesting and added a lot to the story. And lastly, as a character, Madeline is very realistic. She's very naive because she hasn't experienced the world besides what she has read in books and has talked to Carla about and her mother about. So her view on the world is a little skewed, and I thought that that was very accurate, and I appreciated that she didn't know everything and she wasn't as world savvy. I had one neutral for this book, and that was going to be that Madeline spends a lot of time reading, which is fine because I love reading as well. But she only reads classics, which I thought was kind of weird, and I thought that someone her age would read more contemporary books or books that were published more recently, but all she does is read classics. But that was a neutral, so it didn't add or detract from my reading experience. It was just something I noticed. But now I'm going to talk about my cons. My first con for this is something that I noticed, but I don't know if it's just a reading experience thing or if someone else reading it wouldn't even pull this from the novel, but it really makes a point that she doesn't feel like she's living unless she's outside. And I know that there's a lot of people that are sick and can't go outside. I don't think that they're living any less. So the fact that it's repeated over and over again that you're not living unless you're outside, or it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I know people that are really sick and they have to avoid people that are sick and avoid things and really stay inside most of the time. They can go outside sometimes, but they really don't really very much. It just harped on not living unless you're being outside and not living unless you can do this. I think that people have a lot of different types of lives, and I don't think that that was a very positive message. And I know that it's situational, so like maybe for her it wasn't, but I didn't like it. And I guess my biggest con for this is that I really hated the ending. I really hated everything about the ending, and all of the things that I hate about it are spoilers, so I'm not going to say it right now, but I will say it in a little bit. And that really detracted from this novel for me. I was enjoying it for the most part throughout most of the novel, and then the ending, I was just like, ugh. I don't like this at all. So after I give my rating, I will be going into spoilers a little bit because I have to talk about it. But overall, I did enjoy it. I had a lot of problems with the ending, which brought it down for me a lot. So I ended up giving it 2.5 stars because I did like it for the most part, but then it just tanked for me. So do I recommend this? It's cute. I will probably see the movie. I think that the movie might address it a little bit better. Not quite sure. But yeah, not bad. A contemporary romance story. I don't like those. So a 2.5 star rating for me is decently okay. But if you don't want to be spoiled for anything that happens in this book, go away. Let's talk about the things I really did not like about the ending of this book. First and foremost, how did her mom even get away with sticking her daughter in a house and not let her out into the world? And when it came out that she was not actually sick and then she was able to come out into the world, how's her mom still able to be a doctor and not being arrested for child abuse? Because she literally locked her own daughter inside of a house because she was scared that her daughter would die because her husband and son died. Like, what the hell? Also, my sister is a doctor, so I asked her if that's even possible to do. Like, can you actually diagnose your own child and then stick them in a house? And she was like, no, you can't do that. So that was definitely unrealistic. So to read this novel, I would have had to have suspension of belief for that, but I couldn't. She's not allowed to touch Ollie when Ollie first comes into the house because he's foreign. But Carla and her mother both leave the house on a daily basis, and her mother's a doctor, so she goes into a hospital where there's a ton of sick people all the time. Why is her mother able to touch her when someone who's just a regular human that doesn't get exposed to tons of sick people every day can't? It just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, did they both go through that hour-long process every day to get into the house? I don't think so, because Madeline never talks about her mom or her nurse caretaker being cold, which she does talk about Ollie putting off cold vibes or whatever. Also, with Madeline being inside all the time, she doesn't really have a need for money, so I'm not really sure how she was able to get a credit card to even pay for tickets to Hawaii. So I didn't really get how she was able to pull that off. And then they go and see Carla, but I'm pretty sure that Carla would probably care so much about Madeline that she would probably, I don't know, tell someone, I don't know, or go with her just to make sure that she doesn't die. And just one other thing that jumped out at me, these were just the things that I noticed without being super picky, is that I'm confused that Madeline never looked into her own diagnosis. She just was like, yep, I'm sick and I'm allergic to everything, but she never actually went through and saw where she actually was diagnosed with anything. She just accepted it at face value, and then later on she has easy access to her medical records and then finds out that she's not actually allergic to everything. So I didn't really get that either, but as I said before, I enjoyed it for the most part. It was a fun romp. I thought the relationship between Madeline and Ollie was cute and innocent, really, so I ended up giving this book 2.5 stars. Even though I had all those problems. So that's going to be my review and a little bit of discussion on why I was so confused at the ending and also didn't like it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you've read this book. Did you have similar problems to me? Do you have any answers to my problems, like how she got away with trapping her daughter in a house and not getting arrested for it when it was all brought to light, or losing her license to even be a doctor? Anything else you want me to know, leave it down below and I will talk to you guys next time.